Imagine a world where a young girl's beauty is not a gift, but a danger, where a soft face, smooth skin, or a perfect braid can decide the rest of her life. In the hidden chambers of ancient courts, far from sunlight and ordinary people, girls were watched, measured, tested, and reshaped until even their own memories no longer felt like theirs. Some were lifted up as living symbols, praised as sacred treasures. Others were locked away behind stone walls so high they forgot what freedom looked like. And a chosen few were led down paths so quiet and controlled that they believed the lies whispered to them that suffering was honor, that fear was devotion, that losing themselves was a duty to the empire. But behind every rule, every ritual, every golden promise was a system built on silence. A system that treated girls not as daughters, sisters, or children, but as tools shaped for politics, power, and ritual. Some of the most painful practices were hidden behind silk curtains and holy words, seen only by the few who survived long enough to understand them. Before we begin, comment where you're watching from and prepare yourself. History isn't always kind, but it is always true. The girl can no longer feel her feet. She sits inside a shallow pit cut into frozen ground high above the clouds. The air is so thin that every breath feels stolen. Men in heavy cloaks move around her, their cracked lips shaking from cold and exhaustion. She is maybe 12 years old, her hair neatly braided, her thin body wrapped in a fine dress. A small gold figure rests in her lap beside silver ornaments and maize. Her stiff fingers lie over them, trying to remember warmth. Her mouth tastes bitter from coca leaves, her head heavy from chicha. The snow looks dim and unreal, like a dream she cannot leave. The priests speak, but their words slide past her. She hears only the whine sharp, cutting, never soft. One priest kneels, pulls her blanket tighter, his expression calm and professional. He is not angry or gentle. He is simply doing what he was taught. He repeats what they told her earlier. She is not dying. She is joining the gods, becoming their bride, protecting the empire. She tries to answer, but her tongue is slow and her jaw refuses to obey. Her breath fogs, then fades. The priest brushes ice from her lashes. For a moment she looks like a child again. He hesitates, then stands. Behind her, other pits already hold small bodies curled into fetal shapes, wrapped with offerings. A line of children turned into holy objects. A row of lives turned into policy. The priest signals. Snow and stones are pushed around her. The sky narrows. The world darkens. The last thing she feels is not cold, but a strange inner heat. Her heart slows. The coca and alcohol finish what the mountain began. She falls asleep believing she has saved her people. Far below, there is feasting and gratitude. And somewhere, other young girls pray they are never perfect enough to be chosen. But this is not where their suffering began. It is only where it ended. To understand why a child's body sits frozen for centuries, we must return to the villages where she was still just someone's daughter. In the 15th century, during the reign of a powerful ruler, the empire expands new lands, new people, new children. Imagine a small mountain village built on steep stone terraces. Life is hard but steady. Yet one day breaks the rhythm of planting and harvest the day imperial officials walk down the road. They carry no weapons, only bright clothing and cords for counting. They move with calm authority, certain no one will refuse them. They are here to count girls. When they arrive, the village grows silent. Mothers hide their daughters. Fathers look at the ground. The command is simple. Line up the girls between 8 and 10. Too young to understand, old enough to feel fear. The officials inspect them one by one, lifting chins, checking teeth, touching arms and legs, searching for scars or marks. Any flaw is enough. They are not choosing personalities. They are choosing bodies. The empire wants symbols perfect, untouched, useful. For a family, being chosen cuts to ways, reward and loss. They may receive animals, better status, lighter labor, but they will lose their daughter forever. One word from the official changes everything. From that moment, the girl belongs to the state. Her old name disappears. She is taken from her mother's arms and turned toward the road. Her childhood ends in the village square. This is only the first step in a system designed to reshape her completely. The journey to the capital is long. The girls walk with officials, sleep in way stations, and see mountains and valleys they never knew existed. It is their first and last experience of the world as free people. When they reach the great city, they are not taken to a temple. They are led to a massive stone building, the house of the chosen. It looks like a fortress, high walls, no balconies, no windows. The doors close behind them with a heavy final sound. Freedom ends. Inside is a controlled world of courtyards, workshops, sleeping halls, and gardens. They are surrounded by many other girls. No men may enter except the ruler himself and rare physicians. Even the guards are eunuch-salted, so desire cannot interfere. Their presence is a warning. The state will cut whatever it must to keep order. But real power belongs to the older women, the ones who were chosen long ago. They run everything with sharp eyes and steady discipline. Training begins immediately. Weaving the finest cloth, brewing sacred drinks, performing rituals. A single mistake is not simple error, it is disrespect to the gods. But the true work happens in their minds. Every day, the older women speak the same phrases. You do not belong to your parents. You do not belong to yourself. Your body is the property of the state. You are an offering. Memories of home become dangerous thoughts. Missing your mother is disloyalty. Wanting anything for yourself is betrayal. They live comfortably, warm blankets, good food, clean baths. But this is not kindness. It is investment. Each day polishes them, shaping them into something useful to the empire, while quietly erasing whoever they once were. Years pass. The girls grow into young women. Their bodies change. Whispered fears spread through the dormitories at night. No one tells them clearly what happens next, but everyone knows childhood ends, and the empire will decide their fate. One morning, officials arrive again. High-ranking men. Their presence feels different. This is not inspection. This is selection. The young women stand in a tense line. Without explaining, the officials sort them into 3 pots. The first path is political. Some girls are given as gifts to nobles or allied leaders. They leave the house as symbols of loyalty. One day they are told they are sacred. The next they are in the bed of a stranger, their bodies used to build alliances. The second path is permanence. A few become teachers, taking vows of celibacy. They remain in the house to train the next generation. They survive, but they do not live. The third path is the one whispered most those chosen for sacrifice. The perfect ones, the flawless ones. They are told this is the greatest honor. Their hands shake anyway. But there is a fourth, hidden fate reserved for girls who break the rules, one quieter and crueler than death on a mountain. Before any sacrifices take place, the empire stages a grand festival. The chosen girls are dressed in the finest clothing, decorated with gold and feathers, and shown to the crowds. Drums pound, animals are offered. The ruler appears in glory. The people watch with awe, pity, or relief that their daughters are not among the chosen. The girls are praised as saviors who will protect the land from disaster. Their fear is painted over with praise. After this celebration, the real journey begins. They travel for weeks up sacred mountains. At first the path is green. Then the world loses color. Trees vanish. Air thins. Walking becomes painful. Breathing feels like swallowing knives. The priests give them more alcohol, and coca leaves not small amounts, but heavy doses. Their minds grow foggy. Their bodies feel warm despite the cold. They walk like sleepwalkers, numb, exhausted, barely aware of the world around them. The priests call this mercy. The empire calls it efficiency. A terrified, fully awake child might run. A sedated child can be guided into a grave while believing it is a bed. The higher they climb, the more the world stops feeling human. The air becomes sharp like blades, thin enough that every breath burns the throat. The ground turns from dirt to stone, then from stone to ice. Sounds vanish in the wind. Even the girls' footsteps feel too soft to belong to living people. The priests walk ahead like dark shapes against endless white, their cloaks snapping in the cold. The chosen girls follow quietly, swaying from exhaustion, their minds heavy from coca and alcohol. At last, the mountain's peak appears a place where the sky feels close enough to touch. No birds, no plants, no water, only stone, snow, and silence. The ceremonial site waits, as if it has been expecting them for centuries. Shallow pits carved neatly into the frozen earth. Stone platforms laid out with offerings. Small statues, food packets, ornaments, all ranged with careful precision. Here, the mountain itself is the altar. Nothing else is needed. One by one, the girls are guided to their pits. Their bodies move slowly, more from instinct than awareness. The cold has already softened their senses. The drinks and leaves have blurred their fear. They are placed in a fetal position, knees to chest, arms wrapped around their legs, heads lowered. The posture is familiar to every human being. It is how life begins. Now it is how their lives will end. Blankets are wrapped tightly around them. Their cheeks are red from the alcohol, and their eyes blink lazily as if drifting between sleep and waking. Small bundles of food, tools, and ornaments are placed beside them. These items are meant for the journey they are told they will take after death. The priests believe or choose to believe that these children are stepping into a better world. The priests then step back and let the mountain do its work. Up here, no one hears the final words except the wind. And the wind does not comfort. It cuts, it freezes, it erases. For many girls, the end comes gently. The cold numbs their bodies. The coca slows their minds. The alcohol softens fear. A strange heat spreads under their skin, the body's last attempt to protect itself. Their breathing becomes shallow. Their thoughts drift. Their hearts slow. They slip into a deep sleep from which they will not wake. Their bodies freeze before decay can touch them. Time stops for them in a single moment. But not every child leaves quietly. Archaeologists centuries later would discover skull fractures sharp, deliberate breaks. These wounds were not accidents. They were the result of a single strong blow from a stone club. A killing strike, quick, final. A girl may have woken at the last moment, frightened and confused. She may have tried to stand or escape. She may have cried out. The priests could not allow panic to disturb the ritual. The empire did not build its ceremonies to be interrupted. If fear broke through the drugged fog, one swift strike ended the struggle. When the ritual is complete, the priests and attendants begin their descent. They do not look back. They leave behind neat rows of small frozen bodies, wrapped in fine clothing, sitting in silence high above the world. They leave behind offerings, tools, dolls, feathers, jewels, everything a child might need except life. Far below, in the warm valleys, people celebrate. They dance, feast, and thank the gods for protection. They never see the rigid little figures left alone on the mountain. They never hear the wind passing over their still faces. They never feel the cold that holds them in place. Up on the summit, where air can barely hold breath, the children stop being daughters. They become symbols, holy, silent, frozen reminders of a system that believed beauty and purity were worth more than the lives that carried them. These girls are called sacred virgins. Their purity is treated as state property. Any forbidden touch, any secret relationship, any whisper of pregnancy is not viewed as a personal mistake. It is seen as theft from the gods. If a girl breaks the vow, the system turns ruthless. There is an investigation, quiet questions, watchful eyes. Truth matters less than message. A sacred body has been used without permission. Her blood cannot be spilled. So the empire erases her another way. She is taken to a hidden place, a small cave or chamber underground. No ceremony, no festival, only darkness. She is given a little food and water, enough to understand what is coming. Then the entrance is sealed with heavy stones and packed mud. Light narrows, then vanishes. Her screams hit the stone and return to her. Her fingernails break. The air grows stale. Time stretches into something unbearable. She dies slowly in a place meant to be forgotten. The man involved is executed. But the punishment spreads far beyond him. His family removed, his home destroyed, his land salted so nothing can grow. Memory itself is killed. This teaches the entire population one message: a woman's body is not her own. It belongs to the state. Centuries later, when foreign invaders arrive, they condemn these rituals as cruelty. Yet they immediately seize the surviving girls, forcing them into new servitude, new beds, new religions. The gods change, but the walls do not. These girls lose their voices twice, first to their own empire, then to the conquerors. Only in modern times do the mountains reveal the truth. Frozen bodies appear children perfectly preserved. Scientists examine hair, skin, and bones. They discover sudden diet changes, spikes of stress hormones, and heavy use of coca and alcohol. The girls were not willing sacrifices. Their bodies were terrified long before their last breath. Today, some of them sit behind museum glass. Tourists whisper that they are still beautiful. But they are not saints or monsters. They are children caught between power and belief. We admire ancient empires for their roads, temples, and achievements. But none of that existed without a system willing to use young girls as offerings, tools, and warnings. The mountains remembered what official stories hid. The hair remembered what the prayers tried to erase. And now you know, when you look at a frozen child's face, do you see devotion or a girl who never had the right to choose? If this story moved you, subscribe and support the channel.